Hello, good day to all. I am your teacher, Jason Patalinghog, and today we'll be discussing the subject creative writing, week 2 of quarter 3 with our learning competency, the use of imagery, diction, figure of speech, and specific experiences to evoke meaningful responses from readers with a specific objectives which are as follows: to identify the figure of speech used in sentences, to write sentences in a figurative meaning, and to create a meaningful story applying figures of speech. To start our lesson, we'll talk about figure of speech. So what is figure of speech? I know you have heard this multiple times in your junior high school, but for the sake of review, we're going to give a definition for the figures of speech. It is a literary device in which language is used in a figurative way that has other meaning than its normal definition in order to produce a stylistic impact to the reader. It makes writing more creative, more expressive, and more interesting. So by applying figure of speech in your literary piece or in your writing will become out of the normal. It's basically not normal anymore because it becomes more creative and more stylistic. In order for us to use the figurative language or the figure of speech in writing, we have to know what are different types of figure of speech and how we're going to use them in a sentence. Let's start with the two types. So what are the main groups or the types of figure of speech? Basically, it is divided into two uh, category. The first category are what we call tropes. So what are tropes? These are kind of figure of speech that uses comparison, association, or wordplay with literal meaning of words, or to layer another meaning on top of words and literal meaning. Okay, on top of a word's literal meaning. Okay, so we'll start with the first kind of tropes. That's the very popular simile. Simile is a comparison of two objects using like or as. So example, the cloud was fluffy like a cotton ball. So there are two things that we are comparing. First, we have the cloud. Second, we have the cotton ball. And they are linked by the word like. And what are the similarities between the cloud and the cotton ball? They are both fluffy. Again, there are two objects that are being compared, the cloud and the cotton ball. What is the similarity between these two is that they are both fluffy and they are linked with the word like. That's why it's called simile. Because remember, simile is about comparing two similar objects. No? Two similar objects with the use of like or as. Okay? To give you another example, I'm going to say, you are beautiful as a flower. Okay? You are beautiful as a flower. There are two words that I am comparing there. First, you, then the other one is flower. They are being compared using the word as. And the similarity between you and the flower is that both of you are beautiful. Okay, that's how we use simile in a sentence. Again, I would like to repeat, we use simile in a sentence if we are comparing two objects with the use of as and like. I hope you understand that. Now let's move to the second type of tropes, that is metaphor. Now metaphor is similar to simile. The only difference is that metaphor gives a direct comparison. It does not use the word as or like in order to compare two objects. Example, Cassandra's eyes were eyes as she stared at her husband. Okay, instead of saying Cassandra's eyes were cold, so she used, or we use here, the word eyes. So we are comparing Cassandra's eyes and the word eyes, which shares similarity. Both are cold, used as cold, something like that. So again, there are two words being compared: Cassandra's eyes and the word eyes, as she stared at her. No? So if you're going to restructure the sentence, you're going to rephrase it like you're going to say, Cassandra's eyes were like an ice. If you use like an ice, then that becomes simile. But when you say Cassandra's eyes were ice, so if there is a direct comparison between Cassandra's eyes and the word ice without the use of as and like. So that is metaphor. So there's only a thin difference between simile and metaphor. When you say simile, you compare two objects. Okay, you compare two objects using the word as and like. But when you say metaphor, you're comparing two objects without the use of as and like. So it's a direct comparison. That's the only difference between simile and metaphor. So I have to reiterate that because there's a lot of questions about the difference between simile and metaphor, and most students fail to identify which one is simile and which one is metaphor. Okay? Now, the next type of tropes is personification. Personification is when you give human characteristic to a non-living things. Again, there's a non-living things, you're going to apply a human characteristic to that non-living things. Example, the rock stubbornly refused to move. Okay, the word here, rock, is a non-living thing. Of course, rock is a non-living thing, but you use words, or you describe rock as if the rock is a human, right? But you're going to say stubbornly refuse to move. That's a quality of a human, a characteristic of a human, to stubbornly refuse to move. Basically, rock do not move. Okay, in literal sense, rock don't move. But in figurative language, we apply characteristic of a human being to a non-living thing. That process is called personification. Again, you use human characteristic, okay, to describe a non-living object or a non-living thing. That is personification. Okay, next is hyperbole. Okay, others would pronounce it as hyperbole, but it's not hyperbole, it's hyperbole. Now, a hyperbole is a figurative language or a figure of speech, uses exaggeration for emphasis or effect. Now, if you want to emphasize something, you are going to exaggerate. Okay, exaggerate in order to emphasize something. Example, the teacher told her class 1,000,000 times to behave. Now, the phrase 1,000,000 times is impossible. You can't say words 1,000,000 times, but you are exaggerating it in order to put emphasis on the sense that you are saying it multiple times. Instead of saying multiple times, you exaggerate it 1,000,000 times. Another example that I can give you is that I'm going to say, I cried a river when he is gone. So when you say the word I cried a river, imagine that tears of river. That's an exaggeration. You cannot cry a river. You cannot literally cry a river. Okay, so when you use the word river to describe how much it cry, that is an exaggeration. Therefore, it's called hyperbole. Again, hyperbole is an exaggeration. Okay, to emphasize a certain thing or to give an effect to your sentence or to your words. The next type of tropes is what we call irony. Okay? If hyperbole is about exaggerating, irony is different. Okay? It uses words to convey the opposite of their literal meaning. So irony means opposite. Example: how nice, she said, when I told her I had to work all weekend. Okay? So when you say, I had to work all weekend, that is opposite, but you mean opposite. It's verbal irony. Okay? Opposite of what you really mean. Okay, again, let us review. How nice, she said, when I told her I had to work all weekend. If we're going to analyze the sentence properly, what would be your reaction when you tell somebody that, hey, I have to work all weekend? Will you be happy or not? Basically, you will not be happy. But the thing that you say, how nice, so that is basically opposite to what you mean, which is it's not actually nice. Okay, so that is an example of irony when you mean something different from what you actually say. Another example is what we call situational irony. A traffic cop a traffic cop gets suspended for not paying his parking tickets. Okay, so why is it irony? Because if we're going to review the sentence, who is being given a ticket? Who is being given a ticket? Who is expected to pay a ticket? It says the cop. But actually, it's an irony. You know why? Because the cop should be the one issuing the ticket. They're not supposed to be getting ticket and paying for a ticket for an illegal parking or whatever. So it's an irony because it's the opposite of what's supposed to happen. Supposedly, the cop will issue a ticket, but this time the cop is being suspended for paying his parking ticket. That's what we call irony. Again, why is it irony? Because it is the opposite of what it should be. Okay. Third example, dramatic irony. When you say dramatic irony, when the audience knows the killer is hiding in a closet in a scary movie, but the actors do not. Okay, it's dramatic. When the audience knows the killer is hiding in a closet in a scary movie, but the actors do not. So there's an opposite. Now there's an it's opposite to what you actually expect because the audience they know that the killer is hiding in the closet, but the thing is the actors are opposite. They don't know. Okay, they don't know where the killer is. So it's opposite to the audience because the audience know. Suppose you're thinking that the actor should know, but no, they don't know. So it's opposite to you. You know, the actor don't know. Okay, so that's what we call irony. Again, it's very easy to spot an irony. Always look into the situation. Okay, the situation. If the meaning is opposite to what is being said, that is irony. Okay, so again, I have to repeat. There are three kinds of irony. We have the verbal irony, situational irony, and dramatic irony. But all you have to look into is that the words that is used conveys an opposite meaning. Okay, I hope you understand that. The word that you use basically conveys an opposite meaning. So there's a, what do you call this, an opposite meaning to what you actually say. Okay, I think you're confused now. If you have question, feel free to ask me or to uh, write a comment because I'm confused too if you understand my explanation or not. Okay, the next type of trope is oxymoron. Now, the oxymoron are two contradictory terms used together. You know, it's similar to irony, but these the oxymoron uses two different things that are contradictory. Example: good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Okay, I have to repeat reading. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. That's according to William Shakespeare. So in that line, good night, parting is such sweet sorrow, that's the oxymoron. There are two things that are opposite to each other: parting and sweet sorrow. What do you mean by sweet sorrow? Sweet is something positive, but sorrow is negative. Sweet is something happy, but sorrow is sad. So they are conflicting ideas or conflicting words, which literally they're trying to describe parting, okay, separation, sweet at the same time, sorrow. So that's um, an oxymoron. When the two words that you're going to use are conflicting to each other. Okay? You use two words that are conflicting to each other. Okay? Who can give me an example? Probably you can think about words that are conflicting. Okay? Just like perfect imperfection. Okay, that's very conflicting. Perfect imperfection. Okay, I love you for your perfect imperfection. So that's an example of oxymoron. Two conflicting words used as a whole or as one. Okay, that's basically a wordplay. Next, after to oxymoron, we have metonymy. Metonymy is a substitution of name of an attribute of the thing meant. Okay, a substitution of the name of an attribute of a thing meant. Example: the pen is mightier than sword. The pen refers to writers, while sword refers to soldier. So instead of saying writers are better than soldiers, you replace them with other object. Okay, so you substitute pen for the writer and you substitute sword for soldiers. Okay, so that's what we call metonymy. Next is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a part is made to represent a whole or vice versa. So you use part to represent a whole. Okay, I have a very good example for this. When you go to a restaurant, you're going to say, "How much will I pay per head?" Instead of saying per person, you're going to say per head. Okay, head meaning actually the whole body, but you're referring the whole person as a head. So that's only a part that is representing a whole. Okay, I hope you understand that, but let's go to the example prepared in the book. It says, if someone says the restaurant was lovely, they either mean the wait staff, the food, or the environment. Okay, so when you say what it means is that when you're going to say, oh, the restaurant is lovely, you actually do not mean restaurant is building, but you mean everything in that building that includes the wait staff, the food, and the environment. So it's like a generalization. Instead of saying, I love the stuff, I love the food, and I love the environment. Instead of saying those one by one, you're going to use what word, okay, one word to represent the whole. Okay, again, one word, one part to represent the whole. Okay, again, I hope you I understand that. Okay, that's what we call synecdoche. The second category of the figure of speech is called schemes. Schemes, it means you tinker with words, sounds, and structure in order to achieve an effect. Usually, we use schemes in poetry, okay, when we write poems. The first example of scheme is alliteration. Alliteration is a repetition of the first consonant of neighboring words. Okay, consonant. Example, Wayne wondered where Walter was. Okay, what is the consonant sound is being repeated? That's the word, that's the letter W. The consonant sound W. Okay, so we say Wayne wondered where Walter was. Okay, since W is repeated in every first word and every first letter of every word, that's why it's called alliteration. Again, alliteration is when you repeatedly use the same letter in every word in your sentence or line. That is what you call alliteration. Okay. After alliteration, there is also what we call assonance. Okay. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in words that are close together. A while ago, alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound. This time, it's a vowel sound that is being repeated. Example, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named. What's the vowel sound that is being repeated? That's the sound A, or A. We say rare and radiant maiden angels named. So the letter A. So that's the word that is being repeat in the sentence. Second, therefore all seasons shall be sweet to thee. The sound that is being repeated is the word e, seasons, sweet, thee, e. Okay, so that sound is being repeated. Season, this e, sweet, and thee. Okay, so when you repeat vowel sound in one line or sentence, that's what we call assonance. Next is anaphora. Anaphora is a technique where several phrases or verses begins with the same word. Okay, example, mad world, mad kings, mad composition. That's according to William Shakespeare. The word mad is repeatedly used in every phrase. Mad world, mad king, mad composition. So mad is being repeatedly used. Okay, again, alliteration. Let's just a review. Alliteration. If you keep on using vowel or no consonant sound in every neighboring words, okay, the consonant sound is being repeated. Assonance, if not the word, if you use vowel sound, repeatedly use of the vowel sound in neighboring words. This time it's not vowel, it's not consonant sound, it's the whole word itself that is being repeated. Okay, mad world, mad king, mad composition. The word mad is repeatedly used in every phrase. That is called anaphora. Okay, next, apostrophe. Now, apostrophe is when you call out a non existent person. as if they are there. Okay? You call out a non-existent. The person is not there, but you call them as if, or you're talking to them as if they are present. Or an inanimate object as though it was a living. Okay? You're talking to a smartphone as if the smartphone is a living person. Okay? Smartphone, why are you so boring? Okay? The smartphone is an object, but you are talking the smartphone as if it's a living object. That's what we call apostrophe. Or something that is not present. Like for example, you're going to say, Virgin Mary, please talk to me. Well, the Virgin Mary is not actually there, but you are talking as if the Virgin Mary is right in front of you. Okay? Okay. Or let's say you use the example in the book, Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay? You are talking to the star as if the star is a living person, but the star is not a living person, but you are talking to it as if it's a living person. That's what we call apostrophe. Again, you can call it apostrophe when you talk to someone who is not there. Actually, a person who is not there, and you're talking to them that they are as if they're there. Okay, like, oh, Jose Rizal, please give me wisdom. As if you're talking to Jose Rizal is right in front of you, but Dr. Jose Rizal is not there because he's already dead. Okay, so that's an example of apostrophe. Or you can also call it an apostrophe if you are talking to a non-living object as if it's a living person or a living object. Okay, that's apostrophe. Again, if you are confused, just feel free to ask question by commenting in the comment section. Next, now we're done with the explanation for the figure of speech. Now let's go to your activity. Figure them out. Okay, figure them out. You read the direction in your activity 1 in your learning activity sheets. Read and analyze each of the sentence in your activity sheets and identify the figure of speech used and write the letter of the correct answer on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, so it's very easy if you understand everything that I've been talking about this past few minutes. So if you have not understand all of them, probably you can go back, view again from the beginning, or you can simply ask me a question by writing your question in the comment section. Okay, for activity number 2, it's meaningful object. Okay, think of an object that will describe you as a student. Draw it in a short bond paper and complete the phrase below to explain your output in 3 to 5 sentences using figure of speech. Okay, let's say for example, I'm going to draw a cloud to represent me, and then I'm going to write 3 to 5 sentences, okay, using a figure of speech as to explaining why I draw a cloud. So what's the similarity between the cloud and me? Okay, or say you, for example, you're going to describe yourself or think of yourself as a mountain, and then you're going to draw a mountain because you think that the mountain and you are similar, and then you write 3 to 5 sentences using figure of speech to explain why you compare yourself to a mountain. Okay, that's for activity number 2. And for activity number 3, figure friendly. Okay, the direction is on a separate sheet of paper, write a sentence using the given words and figures of speech. Okay, so there are figure of speech. Wait. On a separate sheet of paper, write a sentence using the given word. Oh, so there is already a word or a figure of speech in the in the next activity, all you have to do is that you are going to write a sentence to complete it. Example, face and lamb, simile. So you're going to write a sentence regarding to this in order to compare face and lamb, face and lamb. So it's a simile, so you're going to use like or as. Okay, example, Samantha's face is as innocent as a lamb. So you have described, compared the word face and lamb as they share similarity, innocent, and you use is, as, okay, a word as to compare it, so it's as simile. Again, there are words already that is being prepared for you. All you have to do is to write a sentence, okay, that makes it complete. So you have to be creative in writing a sentence. Okay, so that's in a separate sheet of paper. Now for activity 4, it's a story chain. So it's exciting. You have to write your own story by completing the phrase and by applying the figure of speech on a separate sheet of paper. Now in this activity, there are already phrases. All you have to do is complete those phrases in order to come up with your own story, and you have to be very creative in writing because you are going to apply different figures of speech. Now, which figure of speech are you going to use? It depends on your creativity and your style. As long as you complete each phrases to create a story of your own. Do not change the phrases that is written in your activity sheet. That's it. All you have to do is just add something to complete those phrases, and you can come up with your own story. And again, use figure of speech in order to complete those phrases and to write your own story. Okay, if you have question for that activity, feel free to message me or feel free to comment in the comment section. Now that we're done with the activity for the activity sheets in your modules, there's a pop quiz that you are going to answer. I'm going to read the question and then you are going to type your answer in the comment section below. Okay? Before you write your answer in the comment section, please do not forget to include your name and section so that I can easily identify you. Okay, so what's the question? Why is the figure of speech important to writers? Okay, why do you think figure of speech is important to writers? Again, write your answer in the comment section below. Okay, thank you very much and see you for the next topic for creative writing. Goodbye.